So let's start. Okay, so we'll start again. Hello, everybody. Welcome. We've just been chatting because I thought we were already live on Facebook Live. So we unfortunately, I guess, technical glitch, probably my technical glitch, didn't get us up there. So anyway, welcome to today's version of Beyond the Cloud with myself, Tanya Hiltz, of Cloud Bookkeeping Services and Tanya's Bookkeepers Bootcamp. We have our co-host today is Susan Haynes. She was actually designated co-host because my original co-host had to cancel it due to family emergency, and we decided the first person who shows up gets to be our co-host. And that was Santa, but she was last week, so Susan, like, awesomely just stepped up to the plate. So thank you again, Susan. Sorry, Suzanne. Sorry, thank you again, Suzanne. So why don't you just let everybody know a little bit about yourself again, please?
Okay. All right. Okay. Begin again. We have a virtual bookkeeping firm in the Niagara region. We all work remotely from our own homes. That's the way it's always been. We are cloud-based now. We weren't 3 years ago or so, 3 or 4 years ago, but now we're all cloud-based, except for a very few handful of clients on desktop still. And I can't remember what else I mentioned before, but that's pretty much the basic summary, I guess.
Awesome. And then we have, of course, Diane Mueller and Afsana Borzi back. So yeah, we were just talking. I think if we could go back into, if you don't mind, Suzanne, going back into some of the questions we had, because I think that that'll really be helpful for people. So this part of it is not unscripted fun because we're repeating what we just did in our dress rehearsal when we thought we were live. But so yes, the challenges that you find when working remote, because you had said that you had always been remote even when you were in desktop.
Yeah.
Right?
When we were remote in desktop, it was more awkward. So we would exchange paperwork. We often had paperwork mailed to us, or I did a lot of picking up paperwork. So I had a Wednesday morning routine where I picked up a number of paperwork, sat with clients, talked to them. I always said I'd never go virtual. I'd never miss that because talking to clients and meeting them in their offices, it was fun, and it was also a good connection point. So that was quite a change. But we went virtual because when I discovered that QBO was out, it was a long time ago before I discovered it. And before I discovered it ages ago, hated it 7 years ago or so, that no way. And then whenever I went to one of the QBO conferences, then I realized how much better it was. And then we started moving to remote because it just fit our business model so well. Because we don't have an office, everyone works remote, everyone works from their own homes. So it worked out really well.
No,
so are you 100% QBO or what other?
QBO, I'd say 85 to 90%, and then desktop for the other. So just a handful of clients still on desktop.
And QBO is not for everybody. I still have one that's left on desktop too. And I still have one that I go to their sites.
Yeah, I have one too.
The one that's on desktop. So it's not for everybody.
Yeah, and I enjoy the one client I still go to. I still have one client that I go, and I really enjoy working there and doing the bookkeeping there. And they're on desktop, and I enjoy working with them. And yeah, so.
Well, if you've been there for so long, you almost feel like, the one that I go to, again, I've been there 10 years. There are 2 blocks from here. I'm there every 2 weeks, and you feel like a part of the family.
I went to their wedding. When they got married, right? I was invited to so yeah, they become, because you've been with them for so long and you don't want to give those up. Those are the fun ones, so.
Exactly. And you know what? And it's okay to do that. And, because, there's got to be something said, I think, to your loyalty, your original clients.
Yeah.
No. Some people think that when you go virtual, you have to go all virtual, or when you go QBO, we have to go all QBO. You know what? Do what's right for your business and your clients.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. And Diane, you are completely virtual?
99.5% virtual, but I too, like Suzanne, have one client that I go to. Yeah, I go to their office once a month. They've been a client for going on 13 years, and it's like a nice thing to do. I have this fantastic office at their place for once a month that I go there. And they're just, a really great company that really value what I provide to them on a monthly basis. And they do have a couple of bookkeepers. They're a little bit larger company. So I supervise those bookkeepers and then check on their work kind of thing over when I go there for the for the month. But the same kind of thing. They're just a great company to work with that value me. In fact, periodically throughout the 13 years, they have done retreats for their employees. And I've been taken to Amsterdam for 5 days. I've gone to the Caribbean for 5 days with them over the past. So yeah, they're a hard client to give up. They cause me no grief whatsoever. I have the bookkeepers completely trained, so they know exactly what needs to be done. They know ahead of time what day I'm coming in, and it is a smooth, well-oiled machine that I have no desire to change.
No, well, and there's something to be said for that. And it's funny when I talk to people, and they're like, you're all QBO. And it's like, not quite. There's one client, they'll never go QBO. It's just not going to work for them. And again, you're right that going there is just very different. Like, they're still hourly billed. I'm okay with that. Again, they're one of the original clients. I feel, even though I know I probably could turn around and say, here's your packages, I feel really bad because I am going in there. I am doing mostly data entry, but I know I feel valued in the fact that when I give them a raise, they don't even question it. When they knew I was going for, I mean, I see the Christmas gifts they get for the office staff, and thank goodness none of them are in our group and will be watching it. I get much more. I know I get more than those girls.
Well, I did switch mine to a flat fee per month.
Right.
But, so they're not hourly, but otherwise it works really well. And they, again, would never complain about my fee.
Right. And,
yeah.
And again, with mine, again, they're not maybe moving over to a fixed fee like that, but they're a great source of referrals, the flexibility. There's so many other things that I know they value. And hello, Jessica, you joined us.
Hello. Sorry I'm late. Got caught up in the project.
That's okay.
Jessica, I have exactly that tree.
Awesome.
Exactly. It's on the front of my house outside.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
Yeah. I've got a really big one on the front of the house and then one about that size on the back of the house.
Oh, nice.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it is.
Are you from, whereabouts are you from, Jessica? Are you BC as well, I wonder?
I am in Florida.
Or so there's no way you probably could have got it at the same place.
No, this came from Amazon.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
Well, awesome. So let's ask you, Jessica, what do you think? So we've been talking today about remote. So Suzanne, who has graciously agreed to be our co-host today in a pinch. And of course, everybody else, you're all guest co-hosts as well too, really. But do you work virtually? I know because Suzanne, she's 100% virtual. So are you
100% virtual since 2016. So happy, will not look back.
Awesome. And do you have a team that works with you as well too?
It's mostly just me. I do subcontract on a per project basis if needed. If I get too busy or if I have a particularly hairy cleanup project, then I bring in help.
Okay. Well, see, it's funny we're talking about this today because in the Bookkeepers Corner group, there's been, I don't know if you ladies know, Dan, I know you're always looking and seeing what's going on, even though you don't respond. I know you're almost always seeing what's there. But there's been a lot of, or several, it seems to jump out to me, several people saying that, they want to go virtual. Can they really do it? And I'm thinking, what? You're still thinking that? I mean, I thought everybody was virtual. So if anybody is out there watching and listening, now Afsana's back. Afsana, you have an office, but are you virtual at all for some clients?
So I have my clients on all over different platforms. I have on Sage 50, QuickBooks Desktop, and QBO. So we are moving towards becoming more cloud-based, but right now that's what it is. And some of the clients, it's not even worth to move them. It's just no benefit to them. But I don't go to clients. I just heard you guys like how much you enjoy going to clients, but I love to meet with them. I love to meet with them, but I feel like when I go to their office, I have to spend much more time because I get they get me involved with so many different things that has nothing to do with bookkeeping and chit chat and all that. So I'm doing it all. I either go pick up or they deliver, and I'm using like HotDog and to collect the documents. So that's where I am right now. In terms of staff, I have 2 staff, and they are in my office, and I'm exploring, a virtual employee or contractor. But I need to be more comfortable with it. I need maybe to talk to you guys like Suzanne that does it to see how it is.
And I think there is something, I mean, the technology's there. I mean, our technology is so that we can be 100% virtual. Sandra and Leanne could work from home 100% of the time. Well, let's say 90% of the time. Tax season, no, we need to be in here because most of our meetings with clients are virtual. We've got our door locked, like it's locked now, and it's by appointment only. So I do have somebody coming like really, like literally right as we're supposed to end, but we might have a couple of people pop in a month. Otherwise, and that's just simply by easier for them. Otherwise, they could work from home. They choose to come in because they're not far, but they know that if they want to work from home, if it's due to weather or anything, they could easily just work from home because we've got our phone systems. You can log into the phone systems. Our phones, people, if they get a voicemail, it comes through by email, or we can just turn it on, and we would have to do a little bit more tech, and we're not really that busy that we couldn't return a phone call that we have to answer right away, but that's all there. So they come in because they like to, but that option's there. We've got 2 people that are remote, but you're right, it has to be the right person.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to have that right personality.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm the same. I have one person that's 100% remote,
okay.
and another person that is probably 60-40, where they're in the office here 60% of the time that they work, and 40% they might do at home.
Well, sometimes it's nice. It helps me stay accountable, because let me tell you, if they weren't coming in, I might be taking a heck of a lot more time off and not be getting my work done. So it helps keep me accountable, because I feel bad if they're in here working and I'm not. Mind you, I don't feel bad when I cut out, but yeah.
I have a question for you guys. What system do you have in place to ensure the safety and security of your data at when they're not in your office and not using your computer?
Yes. So personally, I use several systems that we have that I've got business licenses to. Excuse me. So they're either using my computer, which I buy and I put everything on, or they could use their own laptop and I give them another screen should they choose to. If maybe they don't have room to put another computer or whatever, they want to do that, it's easier, no problem. But I will, like, we put our software on. So it's like Viper. I use Fix Me Sticks. I've got a 6 computer license for Viper. Oh, you can't see my Fix Me Stick. There it is. My green screen's working in the background, but a little Fix Me Stick. So we use that.
That's your Wi-Fi?
No, this
is it?
This is, I love Shark Tank and Dragon's Den, and this was on Shark Tank years ago. And this actually got the biggest deal out of Shark Tank history, if anybody watches that show. And it's a little Fix Me Stick. You stick it in your computer, and it runs, it's up to 3 computers, unlimited time per month for the one stick. And it's like $99 US a year, something ridiculous like that. And you stick it in your computer, you download any updates, and you restart. And it runs the full malware, virus, or everything in DOS. Because when you're running things with Windows open, things can go and hide. It plays hide and seek in Windows. In DOS, it shuts right down. So if you hire somebody to do all this stuff on your computer, they're using a very similar software and they're charging you a fortune. So I've had this for years. I jumped all over it because at that point, Robert Herjavec, and I can't remember who else was on there, and I think it was Kevin Leary and Robert Herjavec, and they're both in tech, jumped all over it. And they did the deal, and the deal actually went through, because sometimes those deals kind of fail.
Are you talking about Dragon Den or Shark Tank?
No, this was on Shark. I'm sure this was Shark Tank.
Oh, okay.
Product. And it's now in Best Buy and Staples. It's everywhere.
What is it called?
Fix Me Stick.
Sorry, what?
Fix Me Stick. Oops. I don't know. There we go.
Oh.
Makes me sick. Yeah. So we do that, and then of course where we keep everything is in our we use Smart Vault, which is supposed to have I believe that it's the bank level security. So we use that. We're just really careful about what we use. We are looking at getting the cyber insurance as well. I'm looking into seeing exactly what that covers in our IPBC one, because I've heard, I think it was you that mentioned, Diane, that they had just recently added it. So I did start thinking about that. I thought, you know what, I can do everything just perfect and we could still have issues. So what's your thoughts? I know you've been involved in a few conversations of that day. Like, what do you do for something different? And then I'd love to hear from you, Suzanne and Jessica, what you guys use for that.
I guess I'll go first.
Okay, sure. I go first. Yeah.
Well, it's usually just me, but all of my contractors are 100% remote. And part of the agreement that they sign with me includes a very detailed security policy that they have to abide. And
yes.
Breaking that policy is grounds for contract termination, deduction from payment. I mean, it's stiff penalties. They do not want to mess with that. It requires them to use a VPN, to use a password manager. I use LastPass. They cannot just write passwords or keep them in Excel. They have to use unique passwords. Any system that requires two-factor authentication has to be used. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of it in a nutshell. There's other things, that best practices that they have to do, that you cannot be a shared device. They cannot save any files locally, because all of our files are in the cloud. There's no need for them to download a spreadsheet or a statement or anything like that. I have a secure client portal where my clients upload the data and they can view it right there. Everything else is on G Suite, and my G Suite, it's kind of like locked down. Every security feature I could turn on is turned on. I do have cyber insurance also to give me that peace of mind. But the most important thing is the human factor, because you can set up all these processes in place, but if you cannot rely on that person to follow the policy, it's not going to do you any good.
Well, you know what? You can also just make mistakes. I am the worst person. I watch these emails. I'm like, no, don't click on it. But let me tell you, I got, and I don't get stuck on anything. I did get stuck. They got me about a year and a half ago. I just happened to be in my bank and I paid a bill, and then all of a sudden, very coincidentally, an email came through from my bank it looked like my bank with my bank's heading and all of this other stuff, and just said, oh, something about a bill I just paid. I'm like, oh, I just paid a bill. Click, and the minute that my finger hit, I'm like, no, they don't do those emails. But it was such a knee-jerk reaction, and it was perfect timing. So I was able to immediately, okay, they, shut down everything. I shut down, did a full scan, did, all my stuff, reset my passwords and everything just in case, but it can still happen.
Oh, yes. I'm glad that you caught it. I mean, locally, I live in the state of Florida. There's a city about an hour away from me that they just had to spend thousands, I think $500,000 worth of taxpayer dollars to get their files back because an employee clicked a link on an email. So imagine that. And that's one of the beauties of cyber insurance. If you have good coverage, they'll pay for that. But you don't want to get to that point.
I get emails all the time saying, that, and I'm sure many people get there saying, oh, we saw you watching whatever, and we've got your, because of that, we got in and we've got your, and I'm like, really? Okay, sorry, I don't watch that stuff. You didn't see me watching that. So, but, I just think it's absolutely hilarious. But they're like, yeah, we've locked it down. I mean, I get 3 a week that they say that they've locked it down. But I know as soon as I look at the email address, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's just spam.
But they're getting smarter now, so you always have to be on alert, and having good firewalls and the VPN, especially if you like to work at a coffee shop or a library, you need to have that encryption.
Yep.
Absolutely. You know what, Jessica, happened this morning is I got an email which looked like it came from Microsoft Office 365 telling me that my password was about to expire and that I needed to click on this link and go and either change my password or verify it. Otherwise, I would not be able to log into my Office 365 in 2 days. And I thought, that's pretty weird. I've never gotten that before, but is this legitimate? And I should change my, password logging into Office 365. So then I clicked on the email, and they had all kinds of places in there to actually links that you could click in and do this information. And I thought, no, I'm going to actually sign in to Office 365 on my computer, not from there. And I'll go to the admin work tab to see if I get that message in there. And sure as heck, no message at all about my password needing to be changed.
Yep.
So that was totally a scam. And when I looked at the address it came from, it actually didn't have an address at all. It just had Office 365
Wow.
on the actual from message. So yeah, it's not even those idiots about, all the porn that we all watch.
Exactly.
That they send us emails for. It's, they're actually even attacking things like Office 365 and trying to get your email from there.
And
There's a lot of emails about QuickBooks trying to get your QuickBooks password.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And you know what? And actually that brings up that I did get an email not too long ago that, again, looked a little bit funny, but if I know I haven't done anything, like you, Diane, I don't click the link to sign. I sign into my real account.
That's, I think, always best practice now is to sign into the account out and never click on an email asking you to change something or look at something. Or
everywhere that I usually have to sign into, I have saved in a bookmark on my web browser. And whether I'm at a client's using their computer or my computer, I just make a habit of always going to my bookmark bar and refreshing those tabs and signing in that way. I never click on emails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back to your question.
Not to.
Yeah. Back to your question about what we actually do is the remote bookkeeper that I have that works 100% remote. She actually does not connect her computer at all. So the files that she works off are Sage 50 files. So she does the work and then she does the backup. So Sage 50 is on her computer. She does a backup at the end of every session that she does, and she puts that up on my Office 365 so that if I want to bring it down to my desktop and look at it, I can do that. But otherwise, she's not connected at all. And then the other person that works remotely some of the time, then we use either Sage Drive or they're in Sage Business Cloud. So that's just a, log in, just the same as QBO in the cloud. And then QBO is an easy login. So
yeah. And that's we're QBO, Hubdoc Receipt Bank, so we're logging in there. We do have 1 or 2 clients where we're actually running their payroll out of QB Desktop because it's more complex. And you're right. So we use Smart Vault. We download it. Do what we've got to do a backup, put it back up there, and we're always grabbing it out of there.
That's right. Exactly the same thing. And then we use Sage Drive for a few of our Sage 50 clients also that we need to just go in on a monthly basis and maybe do bank recs or controllership type of services.
Right.
Do you guys have any sort of special sections in your engagement letters that involve when you or if you have remote desktop connection to your clients?
Yeah.
We don't, because we don't do remote desktop with any clients. We're all QBO except for one on desktop, and I handle that one. And then we've got 2 that we run their payroll on desktop, and everything else is all QBO. What about you, Diane or Jessica?
Yeah, I do. In the engagement letter, I recently added a paragraph in there that kind of covers anything to do with being online. And the fact that they understand that we do work online, whether that is remotely connected to their computer, remotely through something like Sage Drive, or just in the cloud in general, that we are not responsible for any third-party problem. So if, QuickBooks got hacked and their, passwords and things got stolen, that we're not responsible for that. We don't have any control over the internet and the cloud-based software.
Right. Right.
My one big construction client, they're in QuickBooks Desktop for obvious reasons, and I VPN like right into their office when I need to do payroll and that sort of thing. So it's
That's
just
what Jessica was just saying too, VPN. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
It keeps the data real and live. I find when you're doing backups to the cloud, there's so much room for error, and those errors end up being extremely cumbersome. They don't happen often, but they do.
So here's an interesting thing that I don't know if anybody's read yet, but I was just reading an article yesterday about this, and that their banks are very concerned out there, and lots of different companies are very concerned with all of these hacks and security problems. And what they're basically saying is that 128 encryption is not good enough going forward, because hackers can actually get into 128 based encryption fairly easily now. So in the future, it's going to be something on your body that will actually sign you in, whether that's your fingers for your fingerprints or your eyes will be the way that all of the banks tend to go. And it's going to come pretty quickly. That there will be no more sign in. It will be an actual
Face app. Oh no, the Russians are going to steal your face.
There are some banks that are halfway there now. Like, for example, my Authenticator app requires my fingerprint, and that's what generates the code that I type into my bank. It doesn't get texted or emailed to me.
Yes. I love that feature. Yeah.
I actually just got that popped up at me when I was signing in somewhere the other day. Did I want to set up my fingerprint sign in? So
And that's
definitely where it's going.
I've got that on a few apps on my iPhone,
Yeah.
and it's great. It looks great.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, my client is here, and we're at 4:05, so it was supposed to be 30 minutes, so we'll have to cut it short, but let me ask everybody who's out there and who's here, because the people that have been out there are very quiet right now, is it was mentioned, and I kind of got that feeling too, that just as we were getting into really good conversation, it was over. So I thought 30 minutes, maybe a week, so that way it's just nice and quick, maybe have more people pop on. But I've got room other than today to move it to an hour if people think that an hour, because I mean, again, we're just getting into good conversation here, right?
As long as it's Friday, I'm down.
Sounds good. Maybe we'll just do that and extend it. All right. Well, he's just about to knock on my door. I can see from the camera here. So thank you so much for joining us. It was great. Thank you again, Suzanne, for being a co-host, being thrown like up to last minute. That's awesome. And then next week we'll just start doing an hour, and that's great.
Santa, you look very nice in your blue background now.
I know. I feel like I'm in the ocean.
You're like in the retrograde.
I'm
retrograde.
Yeah. Yeah, still need a bit of work.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Have a great weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.